Now when you double click, it opens in Adobe Camera Raw, and you have a lot of options in this, but I'm going through just a few of them which you will be using very often. Now the first thing is to enable the profile corrections. So basically these are the lens corrections for distortion and other things. You can see the difference between what it was and what it is now. Chromatic aberration, which is basically the decoloration at the edges, purple fringing, and those kind of things. Okay. Then let's check if there are any excessive highlights, which will showcase in red as you see here, which I'll need to work on a bit later if needed. And shadow clipping. There are no shadow clippings in this image. So let's go ahead. Check the exposure. I generally keep a minus 0.3 or a minus 0.7 exposure depending on my taste. So I go ahead and check up to 0.7 to see which one looks better. I don't really go with the histogram. Deepen the blacks, so you can see the bird, actually the colors and the contrast popping out, what it was to what it is now. The bird stands out from the background. I generally don't touch the clarity, vibrance and saturation, nor do I go ahead with any noise reduction initially itself unless it is essential. So this is as shot image, no cropping done as of now. And the white balance is as shot, so I'll just go ahead and open the image. There is no haze that is evident on this image, so I will not do a dehaze. Let me go ahead and open it up, and this shows up in Adobe Photoshop. And I press Ctrl or Command J to get a duplicate layer. This is where I do the white balance correction. If the image is as of now it looks fine to me, but let me see if there is something else that can be done. Again, whatever we are doing here need not be the final result. We can fine-tune it a bit later. Okay, now I'm trying to find the darkest black available at the lowest number here, threshold level. Where does black first appear? I'm looking at that. Okay, this is the point where it appears. I will zoom it to 100%, and I will use the eyedropper tool, hold down the shift and press there, so it makes a marking as to where I found the darkest black. I'll go back and delete this particular layer. So it's made a marking here, 1, and I go to the curves to pick the gray point. Just black is the right color. Probably this is not what I saw, so I will use the opacity to reduce. Yeah, this is more like it. This is more like what I saw in the morning when I shot this image. So I'll go ahead and highlight this, merge these two layers. I'll rename the layer as WB, white balance. Duplicate the layer by Ctrl J, and let me use some dodging. Now let's burn the highlights first. Burning is darkening and dodging is lightening. Highlights with an exposure of around 10%. I'll go back to the area where it said there were excessive highlights. Increase the brush size and just go through that slightly, so it will reduce the highlights. Rename this as burn. There are many ways of sharpening your image, but I prefer two of them. One is all of them are found under the filters menu, under the sharpen submenu. You have sharpen, sharpen edges, sharpen more, smart sharpen, and unsharp mask. I prefer high pass or an unsharp mask. I'll go to other, high pass. So it's basically a filter. Now what am I looking at here? When I open up the high pass filter, I will move the slider till I find a faintest hint of the outline of the bird or whichever you want to sharpen. So let me go to 1.5 should be fine for this image, and say OK. So you will be looking at what you are seeing on the screen till you blend in, you overlay the screen. So now this is what happens. The sharpening has taken into effect. Now it is subtle, it's not too much of sharpening that I am doing. Let me turn off the sharpening effect. You can look at the eye probably, and that's showing up. Yeah, sharpened, unsharpened. Okay, this should do it. I'm still not happy with the color, so let me merge this, merge the layer and duplicate it. Let me do a bit of color correction by pressing Ctrl and B. Let me induce a bit of reds. So the way to work with these sliders is if you see cyan more, then you use the opposite. You move the slider towards the opposite color to neutralize that. Magenta versus green. If you move, it's basically the opposite colors. Slight improvement in the colors. I'll say OK, and let me group them. Command G. The image that I got from Adobe Camera Raw is what you are seeing now, with all the improvements that we have done. So this is the image. So basically not much of change that we have done. We haven't manipulated anything, we haven't done anything. It's just getting a few details out. Alright, so I will flatten the image. All the layers that I have created, I will flatten that into one single layer, and Command Shift and S to save. I generally save two copies. One as high quality, that is a full-fledged whatever I have done now without any compression. And the second one would be for Facebook. image, then reduce the opacity of that particular layer, so it just blends in like this. Merge the layer. Now this is where I'll resize the image. Command Alt I. I think it should be Control Shift I in Windows. I generally put up 1200 by whatever it comes, 799 generally, at 100% resolution. Command Shift S again to save as. I will save that in Facebook FP, that is a folder that I use. FP quality, save, 642 KB versus 9 MB, something on those lines. Yep, it's done. Let me close this image. I'll post this in Facebook. You can have a look at the edited image, and please do leave your comments. Thank you.